This is Out Loud and Laughing.
Hi, Bryan.
Hello. I know, I'm just smiling, waiting for you to say hi to me.
Well, it's a nice way to be greeted. You know, I feel like it's your red carpet way of saying hello to me.
It's my virtual red carpet.
It's my virtual red carpet. How are you doing today?
You know, 41 and festive now. I am in my 40s, girl.
You sure are. Happy birthday. You just celebrated. Did you have a good time?
A few weeks back. It was good. It was some dinner.
Yep.
You know, some dinner.
Kids just giving you big hugs.
I think that morning I had my trainer. Got some acupuncture. You know, all the things that a 41-year-old should do. It's not about celebrating. It's about staying alive. It's kind of... My birthday's transitioned, I think.
You know, you make surviving and thriving look fabulous. I just want to let you know.
Listen, it's not what's on the inside. It's how you look on the outside. That's what my grandmother used to say. Not really, but she should have.
She used to say it. We just didn't understand what she was saying because she spoke Spanish and we didn't know what she was saying. She probably said it.
She probably had so much wisdom to give us in her later years, and we just didn't know all of it because of our lack of Spanish. What a miss.
It's so funny that you bring her up because recently I've been spending a lot of time on my balcony putting together a little tropical oasis garden. When I first moved in, I bought all new plants and it cost me a shit ton of money and I didn't want to do that this round. So I just started going around and snagging plants and propagating them, which is basically just sticking them in water until they grow roots and then throwing them in dirt. And it's actually working. I've basically created what I call now my rescue garden. This is 40, y'all.
This is 40. This is not 40, John. This is your midlife crisis.
Oh my God, right? Literally repeating actions of my grandmother and bird watching.
Well, okay, should we clarify your bird watching though from your balcony? What exactly are you bird watching on your balcony, John?
Men running by without their t-shirts.
Correct. And I have been getting the pics and I love them. It is John bird watches, I'm holding my fingers up in quotations, while John gardens, which is why he's taken on this midlife crisis, because A, he gets to bring our grandmother to life through his garden, and B, help his thirst while he's out on his balcony.
I am basically cultivating my own Garden of Eden. I stand corrected. My own Garden of Adam.
Your own Garden of Adam, which is funny because Adam, my partner, loves to garden as well. So maybe you guys are both in a midlife crisis. I don't garden, so maybe I'm not in one.
It's something him and I actually have in common, believe it or not. When we go over to your spot, we've been to the nursery together a few times. We spend outside. Mm-hmm. We hack up plants. I actually hope the last time I was there, I hacked up one of your big Monstera plants. I sure hope she's doing okay.
She's good. She's good, actually. Adam has been taking care of her and even said she's doing well this week.
Oh, so nice. So nice. Mine's growing a new leaf. I took a picture, sent it to my boss. This is 40, y'all.
Growing a new leaf. That is midlife crisis right there.
Speaking of midlife crisis, and as we continue to age, it makes me think about our dads. I mean, that was the closest experience we've had to midlife crises. And I think men traditionally are sort of coined as having midlife crises. And I think it might have something to do with the fact that men age or mature later in life. I think women just sort of kind of do because they whatever. So that's why
I like that you're saying that. I like that you're saying men mature later in life, because that's assuming that men ever mature.
Oh, amen, Bryan. Are you kidding? We are amongst boys out there. Trust me, from my purview, the dating world, it literally says on my
your balcony.
From my balcony. No, those boys are allowed because they don't interfere with my emotions.
Well, kinda, just in a different way.
Well, yeah, they're serving me different types of neurotoxins for sure, or neurochemicals rather. Nothing toxic about it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. No, but my dad, for example, had a huge midlife crisis. Bought a motorcycle, built a house, sort of went for it. Not to mention Not to mention, sort of like his behavior was a little bit like rogue to some degree. He became a firefighter. Like it was just,
Yeah.
it was weird.
Yeah, I don't know if mine has had a midlife crisis,
Yeah, I can't
but
think
more like
either.
he's had more like a post-retirement awakening.
I like that.
Like very into like 20 vitamins in the morning. It's all proactive, not preventative. It's just because he wants to, not because the doctor's telling him. Because you know, like old people, they have to take their like 80 pills a day. He's doing all this because he has to. So I don't really know if it's he was kind of even keel. Now again, that could mean that I just don't know enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but no, you're right. If I had to like go back into my mind and think about it, I don't remember your dad really having uh, that visceral or visible either uh, midlife crisis. I don't think so.
I don't think
We
so
should ask
either.
him.
We should bring him on the pod.
Come on, Theo. It's all you all day. Um,
But no, what are some things for midlife crisis that we can kind of embrace, right? Because I feel like there must be a good way to make midlife crisis a positive. Like I don't think we need to go out and buy a motorcycle, but are there things that we can do to at least tap into our midlife crisis, but in a fun way?
yeah, for sure. Like for example, leading up to 40 or leading up to like the feeling of a midlife crisis, which in my opinion is just you sort of taking like a hard look at your past and being like, okay, do we want to keep going down this path or do we want to change trajectories? That's sort of my take of a
Yes,
midlife crisis. Do you have sort of a similar take?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. That's my
So,
take.
yeah, so like for my midlife crisis right now, I'll just speak from my experience. I'm like, oh man, do I need therapy or a vacation? Def a vacation. That's midlife crisis. Uh, you know, I don't know, like suddenly deciding that you want to throw everything away and become a minimalist. That feels like a midlife crisis to me. You know what I mean? Like you just did with all your children's toys. Maybe you're taking your midlife crisis out on your children. This is interesting.
Maybe I'm just angry. Yeah, I did. I'm big on like erasing all the memories. No, but I do like to like get rid of junk. I don't think everything is a memory. Some people are hoarders. I am not a hoarder. I'm a big
No.
believer on if you get rid of it, you donate it, you never think about it again. And so Adam is the complete opposite. If I get rid of anything, like even getting rid of some plastic things from the kid's kitchen, he was like, but they love that plastic onion. It's like they don't. And if they go to school and they come home and it's gone, they'll never think about it again. So yes, I am definitely maybe that is that a crisis? Because I'm just angry, just throwing everything away.
No, that's not a crisis. I think that that falls under the category of a very good category of showing detachment and the importance of sort of letting things go. I actually think that's a very valuable lesson for children. I will say though that like running off to try ayahuasca in the jungle, like, isn't something that I'm like vying to do because I just feel like my life is in such shambles. As a matter of fact, you brought something up about your dad that I sort of related with, which was I think I had a midlife awakening. My crisis through my separation like made me ask myself the question at 38, I'm 40 now, uh, do I want the next decade to look like the last decade? Quite frankly.
A- And what was your answer? Yes.
Oh, absolutely. So I just, hit the bottle, got on the apps, and just dropped my pants, and I said, I'm going to be gay, gray, and I'm going to slay. There we are.
Listen, if that's not a midlife crisis, I don't know what is.
I mean, each part of it.
But I think a midlife crisis can just be a self-discovery, like rediscovery, like a check-in. And, some people might think that, oh, okay, I never really got to tap into that exciting part, right? So maybe that's why you do buy a motorcycle. Or I never had the money to be able to be frugal and just go buy a crazy like convertible car, and I now do. So I don't know if it's a midlife crisis or more like a personal empowerment of like, no, I can do this now. And because I can and I want to, and I don't give a shit anymore because I'm in my 40s and 50s. And so for me, I see midlife crisis now that I'm talking about it is like not a bad thing. But I think from the outside, it's viewed as a bad thing. And people are almost like jealous, like, oh, they bought a Lamborghini. Well, who cares? It's their money. They can do whatever the frick they want, you know?
I also feel, I'm interested in your take on this, but I also feel these days that a midlife crisis almost doesn't exist. I almost feel like midlife crises from past generations existed because parents became parents too young. They didn't have the
Mm.
opportunity to like have their 20s to play and explore, or even their early 30s. I mean, how old were you when Kenzie was born? 35, 36, or
Yeah, I think it was
35?
36.
Yeah, and so you had all that time to live in New York City, live in London, sort of
Yeah.
explore life, travel. So now, like to again your point, I think that we are coming into a generation that is experiencing midlife awakenings more so than midlife crises.
Well, and also we're living longer and we know how to live longer. So maybe midlife crisis is actually what happened in our 70s, right? Because we are living longer. And also, I think midlife crises were because people were getting old and couldn't come to terms with it. But there's so many ways to stay young also. So, like with Botox and getting a trainer and all these different ayahuasca, all these other new outlets. Maybe to your point, there's no reason to have a midlife crisis because you don't have to get old.
Yeah, I mean, really, all I'm asking for is for my hairline to return, my waistline to shrink, and for my dating timeline to stop including 25-year-olds asking, "Hey, daddy, what are you doing?" That's
The
been the
problem is
worst
you are
part.
Well, the problem is you probably reply and say, "Hey, son.
I said, "Hey, boy."
Hey, boy."
Oh man, what whiplash. Yeah, I agree. People living longer is definitely part of that. All the ways that we have like used technology to a refine our bodies, refine our minds.
Yeah.
And to have access to a lot more. I feel like maybe people don't feel so deprived.
Mm.
But I mean, like midlife crises, I think, depending on sort of your privilege, depending on your experience, depending on where you are in your life, again, going back to like people who like became parents really young and were unable to explore that part of themselves. I mean, I know like my girlfriend Stacy, who's been on this pod,
Sure.
she's in her 40s and she is using this opportunity to glam up. She was in a relationship that was no longer serving her.
Mm-hmm.
She is now, she was raising kids at 21. She had, her
Yeah.
first son young, and then the twins a few years later, and she's 40, and she's got 18-year-old and 16-year-olds. And so she just got back from San Francisco. As a matter of fact,
I
fake.
saw.
I know. Did you see on her socials?
She did. She did a good job. She went on yeah, she had a whole adventure in San Francisco.
Yeah, we actually just caught up about it, but she took me over the Golden Gate Bridge. They had rented some sort of like golf cart that was available to go on the
Yep.
highway. And this is sort of her midlife crisis, but it's not one of those things where you're like, oh, she bought herself a Birkin bag for $30,000 that she can't afford. Like that to me is what I feel like people associate a midlife crisis with.
Yeah, I think so. So are we in our midlife crisis, John?
I think we're in our midlife glam up. And as a matter of fact, a thought that I had was maybe this podcast is our midlife crisis.
Maybe we are. That's so meta of you. You might be right.
Like we're like, oh God, what if we die? We need to leave a legacy. How do we do that? Podcast.
Podcast, midlife crisis.
A
Also,
midlife podcast.
why does crisis have to be a negative word?
I don't know, but now you just made me think of Jesus crisis.
Jesus, crisis. Let's start a podcast.
Oh, that's actually not a bad podcast. Jesus crisis.
Nailed
Do
it.
you think that midlife crisis aside, like now that we're getting older, I think what also might cause, not necessarily like a crisis, but maybe an awakening, is that you start to realize that you're just too old for this. Like when you see someone like who's out there drinking too much or doing some sort, you're like, I'm too old for that. Or you see two people that are just fighting in the middle of a bar and you're like, I'm too old for that. Or like wearing these slutty clothes. I see these girls like walking to the high school nearby and I'm like, what are you wearing? Like, and then I'm like, oh, I'm just too old for this. Like, that's a little scary because I don't feel old. But if you look at the timeline, we're in our 40s, which means we've been on this earth 40 years, and some of these kids have been on this world for like 10. That's a little weird.
It is weird. I've had like similar experiences recently. And it's actually a really refreshing feeling to like look back and say, I'm too old for this. And I don't even look at it judgmentally. I try not to be judgmental, but I look at it from the sense of I am so happy I've learned. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of the awakening. Obviously you remember my past, my drinking past. And
Yep.
when I stopped drinking, one of the thoughts I had was, I've had a drink every day for 20 years. From 18 to 38, I had a drink almost every day, maybe for exception of being sick or which I would even, then like, have a whiskey. It's part of like making you feel better. I was like, what is this, the 1800s? Like,
Well, your math isn't mathing because you weren't drinking every day when you were 18 because you're not legal until you're 21, John.
I was in college.
Just trying to help you out here, just in case someone's listening.
Well,
Just kidding.
our moms listen to this podcast. That should be a new segment that we do. Yeah, it's just refreshing to be able to have that perspective, that wisdom to say, and it really answers the same question that I asked myself when I was 38, which around, do I want the next decade to look the same? You look at other people who are adults in their 40s and 50s
Yeah.
falling over, acting like teenagers and new drinkers.
Yeah.
It's not attractive.
It is not attractive. But it was attractive when we were younger. Hence, getting back to this midlife crisis thing. It wasn't not attractive. It wasn't unattractive. I think your mindset is so different.
It is. You feel invincible. You feel like, you just feel like you have absolute control of your life. You're also able to drink all night and wake up at like 8 a.m. and just have a full day. Because if you did that now, like the first 2 hours of your morning is like spent trying to rehydrate and get out of bed and stop a headache.
It's true. I think but based on that, the hardest thing that I find with all of this is that we have life experience, not perfect life experience by far, and we have more life to live. But when someone's asking me for like my opinion or telling a story, I can relate to that story or have an opinion because I feel like I've been through it. So my midlife crisis or awakening is just not to respond all the time based on my experiences because like just because I've experienced it or have an opinion, I can't be the expert on everything. Of course, when you're 25, you think you're the expert on everything. Now that I'm in my 40s, I'm not saying I'm the expert, but I've experienced more things. So I actually find myself saying less sometimes because I don't need to like feel like I'm a know-it-all.
You don't need that validation anymore. As we wrap this up, I want to reframe midlife crisis to
Yes.
this is our midlife creation.
Ooh, it's so God of you.
Well, it's just, we have the ability to change, which is amazing. We
Morph.
have morph. We have the ability to metamorphosize into the beautiful butterflies that we are, butterflies that we are. And I don't know, that's exciting. I look forward to the rest of my life, midlife crisis and all, or midlife creation and all.
I like it. I like it. So basically, what we're saying is that we are moving into our midlife creation,
I like it.
and let's just see what happens.
Or you can just watch it here and watch it all crumble to the ground. I mean, it can go either way at this point.
I.e., both things are going to definitely happen. Two things could be true, John, at the same time.
Oh, did I tell you I booked a silent retreat for 3 months over in Bali? No, I'm just kidding. No midlife crisis here.
I also booked this ayahuasca during this conversation.
Perfect. Can't wait to see you down. Can't wait to see you down in South America, Brian.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up? Because, now that we're in our 40s, today could be our last day, John.
Whatever this journey brings us, I am just so happy that I can either midlife crisis or midlife creation with you.
Either way, it sounds like you need a towel.
I'll be right back. Bye, Brian.
Bye.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.